Good morning, world. I am Judy, your web-based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida and New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Today, we're talking about 5 tips for de-escalating a fight, or maybe 5 ways to de-escalate a fight. Because as we know, even in the best of relationships, sometimes couples do find themselves in these tense situations. Maybe an argument that got out of hand, a discussion that went further than it should have gone. And they may not, people don't always know how to bring things back down before it gets even more out of control. So today we're talking about 5 ways to de-escalate before things get, too far. First is to accept responsibility for your part. Even if you believe the whole thing is your partner's fault, there's usually a little piece of it that is your responsibility, that a piece of it that was your contribution. Accept responsibility for that piece. Accept responsibility for whatever it is that you added the situation, because an argument is not made, one person does not make an argument. It requires at least 2 people. So you usually play a part in it. So make sure you accept responsibility for your piece. 2, acknowledge and accept your partner's feelings. That one is very often difficult for people, because a lot of times one of the things that people can say or they'll feel is that, hey, I didn't mean it that way, so I wasn't trying to hurt you. I didn't want to hurt you, therefore you shouldn't be hurt. A person's feelings are one of those things that you do not get to dictate. You do not get to pick what feelings a person experience. It's simply a person's feeling of simply that person's feelings, whether or not you agree with them, whether or not you think they are justified. That is what the person feels. And therefore, in one of those tense argument type situations, it's really good to make sure that you acknowledge the person's feeling, understand that, hey, I understand that this is what you're feeling. I understand this is where you are. And of course, make sure you accept that feeling as that. You may not like it. Regardless of what your thoughts or feelings about that person's feelings are, you still have to accept them, because that is what the person is feeling at that time. 3, focus on the issues instead of the person. Sometimes we take in arguments, when people get a little heated, things can get personal. And when things get personal, it makes it a lot more difficult to address the actual issues. So make sure when you're in that type of situation, focus on the issue, focus on what you guys are arguing about. If it was dishes in the sink, stay with dishes in the sink. Don't go into other personality traits and other things you don't like about your spouse, other things that your spouse does, the fact that they breathe too hard, whatever it is. Focus on the situation and not so much the person. Focus on the behaviors and address those, and do not get into that judging, criticizing, and things like that. 4, ask for a timeout to cool off when needed. Because sometimes when in the heat of arguments, people can say things that they can't take back. You cannot unsay certain things. You cannot undo certain actions. So before you get to that point of saying something that you may regret, it's best to take some time to cool off, so that both parties have time to really calm down, gather their thoughts, and return to have an adult conversation. And of course, you need to make sure that when you do ask for that timeout, the person who asks for the timeout should be the person who comes back to the discussion. Once you ask for the timeout, make sure that at some point, when the 2 of you are calmer, you come back to the situation, because otherwise your partner will feel like you use that to get out of the discussion, and then and didn't give them a chance to say what they had to say. So ask for a timeout so that you can cool off, but make sure that you come back and finish the discussion. Finally, prioritize resolving the issue over winning. Yes, we like to win. We're those types of people. We all want to be the one that was right. But in a relationship, for the sake of your relationship, it is better to resolve the issue, to focus on resolving the issue, than being the one who is right, than being the one who wins the argument. Because if you resolve the issue, both of you win. You as a couple will be the winners in this situation. Whereas if you just focus on winning, you might win, but in the end, your partner may still be hurt. Therefore, the win is meaningless. I think Lauryn Hill was the one that said, you might win some, but you really lost one. So you don't want to be in that situation. Make sure that you focus on you focus on resolving the issue instead of being the winner or being the one who is right. Quick recap. 1, accept responsibility for your part in the situation. 2, acknowledge and accept the other person's feelings. 3, focus on the issues and don't get into judging the person. Ask for time out if you need it so that you can regroup and get things together. And finally, prioritize resolving the issue over being right or winning the argument, because getting it right is better than being right. And as always, if you or someone you know happen to be going through something that's more than you can handle, please do reach out and get some help, because there are a lot of people out there who would love to help you. And that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.